Google Ads is really good at optimizing towards whatever goal you give it. That's not the problem. The problem is that most B2B accounts give it a terrible goal. They have one conversion called lead, same value for every form fill, no matter who submitted it, and Google just runs with that. Hits the target, sends you a nice dashboard, and meanwhile, your sales team is wading through companies that we're never going to buy. The value model is wrong. The algorithm can be working perfectly and still completely miss revenue. That's what we're untangling in today's video. Picture 2 clicks that came in from the same keyword and had the same cost. The first one is Tiny Co., a 4-person shop that might spend $500 with you once, if everything goes well. Second is Enterprise Co., a 300-person company where if the deal closes, you're looking at $20K this year and maybe even more after that. Both of them fill out your form. Both fire a lead conversion with the same fixed $100 value assigned to it. From Google Ads perspective, those two people are the same. There's no signal telling it otherwise. So over time, traffic drifts toward whoever fills out forms most easily, which is usually not the segment your finance team is excited about. That's how you end up with a campaign reporting great return on ad spend in the interface and a sales team complaining that the leads are useless. Both things are true at the same time. Here's the mental model that fixes this. Instead of a bunch of different primary goals like lead, SQL, demo, closed one, you have just one primary goal. Call it whatever fits. Sales lead, qualified lead, it doesn't matter. Every form submission fires that event once with an estimated value based on what you know at that moment. Then, as the opportunity moves through your pipeline, you don't add new conversions. You go back and update the value of the original one. Now, just a quick note, I actually made software called formtracker.app that makes this a lot easier. You can see the link in the description. Smart bidding starts to see a single thread of information that gets more accurate over time, rather than a pile of disconnected signals that it's trying to make sense of all at once. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to break your leads into meaningful segments. Common ones are company size, industry, or product line. Basically, any dimension where the expected deal value is genuinely different. For each segment, you need 3 numbers from your CRM. The first one is your lead to customer rate. How often does a lead from this segment actually close? Next is your average deal size. What does a closed deal in this segment typically look like? And the third one is optional, lifetime value or expansion behavior, if that's meaningful for your business. Multiply close rate by deal size. That's your expected revenue per lead for that segment. 3% close rate with a $15,000 average deal size, that's $450 expected revenue. Another segment might come out to $80, another to $1,200. Those numbers become the conversion values you fire when the form gets submitted. And look, these don't have to be perfect. What matters is that there's a real, meaningful difference between your high-value leads and your low-value leads. Even rough numbers give Google a direction to work with, so it's better than nothing. Now, this is where most accounts don't go far enough. At the moment of form submission, you want to capture the Google Click ID inside the CRM record. That's what ties everything that happens next back to the original click. Then, when the lead moves to the next stage, books a demo, gets qualified as an SQL, becomes a paid customer, your CRM, or software like Form Tracker, sends an offline import back to Google Ads that says, hey, here's that original Google Click ID, here's the timestamp of the original conversion, and here's the updated value. So if a lead came in at $450 and your data says that demo stage leads close at 20% on $10,000 deals, you're sending an adjustment that raises that conversion's value to $2,000. Now Google looks at this conversion and says, well, hey, this turned out to be worth more than we initially thought, and starts reweighing similar clicks. When the deal actually closes, you update it one more time to the real revenue number, $7,500, $22K, whatever it is. Now smart bidding is learning from actual money, not guesses, not proxies, the real thing. Next, let's go over a few mistakes businesses make that quietly wreck this. The first mistake is double counting funnel stages. If you have 3 different primary conversions like lead, SQL, and demo, one person can generate 3 wins in this system. The algorithm sees that and it thinks that segments producing a lot of demos are crushing it, even if those demos rarely close. You end up overbidding in the wrong places. Keep one primary conversion. Adjust its value. That's it. The second mistake is having flat conversion values that ignore the mix. Assigning $1 to every lead is technically better than nothing, but it still hides the difference between a tiny account and an enterprise one. You want real relative differences, even if the inputs are imprecise. A 5x or 10x spread between your best and worst lead types gives the algorithm something to actually work with. And the third mistake I see, inflating values to force a volume. This one's tempting. Slap a big number on upstream events and watch Google chase more of them. But if those numbers aren't grounded in real close rates and real deal sizes, the system starts learning from fiction. It confidently optimizes towards something that doesn't exist in your CRM. Always tie values back to the formula. Close rate times deal size. If those inputs change, update the model. Now, once your value model is solid, you need a bidding strategy that actually uses it. If you have enough conversion volume, let's say 30 to 50 conversions a month as a rough floor, target return on ad spend makes sense. It'll try to maximize total conversion value at your efficiency target. And because your values now reflect expected revenue, it's effectively optimizing toward revenue. If conversion volume is thin, maximize conversion value bid strategy without a target ROAS is going to be more forgiving. It'll learn and spend without being constrained by a target it can't reliably hit. Once volume builds and the model matures, you can layer in the ROAS goal. The Google Ads interface will tell you what it wants to tell you. The real test is what the pipeline looks like. Over a few months, watch cost per SQL by segment, pipeline generated per dollar spent, closed won revenue per dollar. Those are the numbers that tell you if the model is working. If it's working, you'll probably notice something counterintuitive. Your cost per lead might actually go up. You're paying more for individual leads, but your cost per closed deal comes down, and the deals you're winning get bigger. That's the kind of trade-off you actually do want. Now, this isn't something you just set up once and then walk away. Your closing rates are going to actually shift. Your average deal size moves with the market. You add new products, new segments, and so your model needs to keep up. The best way to do this is to schedule a quarterly review, pull fresh CRM data, recalculate the segment values, update the inputs. It really doesn't take long once the initial structure is in place. And sometimes you'll get surprised. A segment that looked weak on paper turns out to close well once the algorithm finds the right pockets within it. When that happens, the value for that segment probably deserves to go up, and the bidding should reflect that. So what did we learn today? We learned that a B2B Google Ads account doesn't need 10 different conversion goals. It needs just one, built on a value model that actually reflects what deals are worth, and a system that keeps that model honest as opportunities move through the pipeline. Get that right, and smart bidding will stop chasing cheap form fills. It starts learning where the real revenue comes from. And over time, that's the difference between an account that just looks good in the dashboard and one that your finance team actually likes. All right, that's it for today's video. I hope you found it helpful. And as always, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one.